Once upon a time, the kitchen was clean. Ish. But now it's time to make soup. I'm sure we're going to mess it all up again. So anyway, first we're making turkey stock.
Yep.
And that eventually will be turkey and wild rice soup after our long journey of going all over town to find wild rice. We found it. Time to turn that into soup.
I'm going to be Laura's sous chef.
That's right. First up, chopping veggies. Welcome back to Love and Junk. I'm Laura.
I'm John.
And today we're making one of John's favorites.
Yes.
So this is make turkey wild rice soup with us. So I thought we were going to have to catch that carrot. This is not so much a recipe as it is a process. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this process. But it's kind of hard to tell you exact amounts when you're making things from scratch. You know, when you buy your chicken broth or chicken stock, I can say I used 1 carton or 3 cans or whatever, but we're making the stock from scratch, so you know the amounts will be a little bit different. Alright, so while John is working on the veggies here, I'll tell you what we have going on. First of all, the turkey bones are already in a pot of cold water, and we have that going on, I don't know, medium heat for now while we're getting this ready. And to make stock, you really just need the carcass and some aromatics and some seasoning. That's it. And some thyme, because it takes a little bit of time. Both time the herb and time the measurement. So John is peeling and quartering some onions. We have some big chunked carrots here and celery. Now let me tell you that a lot of times when I'm making stock, I use pieces like this. I wouldn't put them in the soup, but I would use them for making stock. Same thing with celery. When you have some pieces that are kind of yellowy or are starting to get soft that maybe you don't want to eat, it's fine for stock. You just need to pull out the flavor. So anyway, we're chunking these up. We're going to throw them in the pot and we'll check in a little bit. All right, so here's our exact measurements.
Yeah.
There's 2 onions, I believe, and maybe 4 carrots.
4 or 5, yeah.
And then 3 stalks of celery. Is it okay to use 2 stalks of celery or 4 stalks of celery? Yes. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have, throw it in. Like I said, this is going to be strained out. This is just for flavor. Add it to your pot. We're going to season it up and then let it rip. We're going to actually bring it up to a boil and then let it cook for about 2 hours, and then it's got to cool down. All right, so I put some fresh garlic in there. I'm going to get that down and then just start seasoning a little bit. This is your first layer of seasoning. Of course, we're going to season this again when it's soup. So salt and pepper, definitely bay, usually 2 bay leaves, sometimes 3, depends on how big they are. I'll do 3, since that was a bay leaf chip. And then I'd really like parsley, but we don't have any, so I'm going to use some Italian seasoning. And I did use fresh garlic, but I'm also going to put in a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder. And then I'm going to stir it up, and then what's going to happen is we're going to let this come to a boil, and then we're going to reduce the heat to about medium-low and let it cook for 2 hours-ish, and we're going to skim it probably, I don't know, twice in that time frame, so we'll be back with a bubbling hot pot of something. All right, so here's what the turkey stock looks like the next day. We're going to skim it a little bit more, take the turkey out, and start turning this into actual soup. I know John waits for this all year.
Yes, so I can't wait.
Gotta get it done. Are you ready to chop some veggies?
I'll chop whatever you want me to chop.
Chippity chop. All right, so it is time to turn that stock into soup. Somebody's very interested in what is happening in here. Rookie, did you have a piece of turkey? You want some more? He's not usually that into people food, but he always likes to be around. He always wants to smell. He always wants to keep his options open. So anyway, I think John gave him a little bite. So here's what we're left with. We're going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And make some soup. All right, here's where we're at. We let the broth stock, I guess, sit, and we have skimmed it a couple times. We skimmed it while we were cooking, and you're left with some turkey stock, obviously. And then you have veggies and like the bay leaf, and we've taken the turkey out. And so we are going to discard all of this because it's been boiled to death. So we're going to discard that and chop up some new veggies. We're going to taste the stock when that comes up to temperature for seasoning, and then we're going to start creating soup. Over here we have the turkey bones, which we're going to get rid of, but we are going to just double check, see like here's a good piece of turkey meat. We're going to get the actual meat out of there and add it to our soup. Now you can reopen it. All right, so I'm just finding pockets of turkey meat and I'm breaking it up. You can cut it up real fine. Some people like the pieces to be this way, you know, more like strips. Some people like little chunks. I just like it to be in small pieces, and then take out the other turkey stuff, you know, like the skin and all of that and the bones, and keep them separate and discard those and just keep the meat. So another thing that I'll mention is, of course, I could do this with a fork and a knife or whatever, but the best tools are these right here. I like to do this with my hands. I do it that way on purpose so I can feel if I've missed some skin or, more importantly, bone. That kind of thing. So I can get that out of there and I feel it with my fingers. All right, here's a couple of tips for you. First of all, as soon as Thanksgiving's over, throw the turkey bones into a bag and save them and pull them out from the freezer whenever you're ready to make soup. It didn't look like we had that much meat left, but all of that is just from the turkey bones without any of the actual meat we saved. Now, truth be told, we got a pretty large turkey this year. How big was it?
13, almost 14 pounds.
Okay, so 14 pounds for 5 people is, you know, should be enough, but there wasn't that much turkey slices. In fact, I didn't even have any. So anyway, we were kind of worried that we wouldn't have enough for turkey soup, but it looks like we're gonna be okay. All right, so the stock is bubbling on the stove. And next step is to chop your veg, whatever you're putting in it. We did already put in aromatics in the stock, but those we're not going to eat. These are the ones we're going to eat. So chop your vegetables the way you want them in your soup. So I like a dice on all of my veg. I guess slices on the celery. And then we're going to add these to the stock and let it go for a while until they're slightly tender, getting to be a little bit translucent, and then we're going to add the rice. So I don't know if I've ever mentioned. I think I have. I have pretty bad carpal tunnel. Had them both hands operated on, no success. So John is usually the chopper. when things have to be chopped. And
It makes me
and the
sad.
big crybaby.
Makes me sad.
Oh my gosh. Hey, this is your soup.
Woo! These onions are rough.
He's suffering. And somebody wants to know what's the matter.
Somebody wants to know when the turkey soup is done.
So, chopping celery. And here's a tip. If you haven't tried it before, celery leaves are full of flavor, so don't hesitate to add that to a soup. Cut off the root and the parts that you don't want, you know, if there's any bad parts or soft parts or whatever. Chop the rest up. John's chopping carrots.
As long as I don't chop a finger.
That's right. My gosh, I love carrots so much, and I feel like I probably eat them more than the average person. They always sound good to me, and I think that's because, I think I've mentioned this before on the channel, but my dad hated carrots, could not stand them, and so we never ate them growing up. And whenever I'd go stay at my grandparents' house, I would always ask them, you know, they would say, what do you want to eat? And I would never say, you know, pizza or whatever. I don't care, but I want carrots. Yes.
Nice.
Yes, carrots. So, anyways.
Carrots are good. I love carrots too. In fact, I think we have enough with this one. I'm probably just going to eat that carrot.
There you go. So whenever I eat carrots, I always think about my grandparents and how they always made, my grandma always said, oh, you made the best carrots. Meanwhile, they were canned that she put in a little pot on the stove. But, man, they tasted good to me. I always think about my grandparents. I always think about my dad every single time I eat a carrot.
There we go. Carrots chopped.
Nice. All right, so here we have the stock. And I've added a couple of bay leaves to this. Actually, one, because we put a couple in it yesterday. Now we're going to get the aromatics going. Skimmed as, you know, the stock as best as we could. If you let it set overnight, which is what we did, we let it cool down, then we refrigerated it, then it's a little bit easier to take care of that.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
So onions, celery, carrots, wild rice, turkey, simple. Sometimes we've done creamy wild rice turkey soup. We've done that before. Sometimes it's turkey noodle. But I think the brothy wild rice turkey is John's
My favorite. Love it.
So that's what he's getting this year. All right, so once the veggies are in there, I kind of stir it around. And before we go any further, make sure that that's the correct ratio that we want to have. So I think that looks good to me. We'll let that work just a little bit and then come back and add the rice.
Okay.
All right, so after you get a little bit of cook on the veg, it's time to add the rice. Today, that's what we're using. Tough to find. And I'm just going to put, I don't know, I highball soup. That's like I said at the beginning of this video. This is not so much a recipe as a, I don't know, make soup with us type video. This is the process. So that's how much I used. You can see, and then I'm going to stir it up and see if we like this ratio. And I think I am going to add a little bit more. Or a lot bit more. Stir that up. Let it go, and when it's just about done, we're just going to add the turkey. All right, we've let it go for a little while. This is what it's looking like. Amazing. So we're going to add our turkey at this point, and I feel like I'm going to add a little bit more liquid just to give the rice plenty of room to cook, because sometimes if you cook rice or noodles when you're making soup with not enough liquid, it gets kind of gummy. So I'm going to add a little bit of hot water now, and I'm going to throw the turkey in. I'm going to check seasoning and let it go some more. All All right, so we've added some more water, and now it's time to season it up because there was some seasoning that we put in the stock, but it's a new day, and we've added a lot more liquid and a lot more, food in there, a lot more veggies, and it needs to be reseasoned. So same seasonings that we used yesterday: salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, or onion powder, and we'll see where we're at after that. All right, another pro tip, I should say. I'm not a pro, but I mean, I have made a pot of soup or two, is to throw in, if you have any extra gravy, throw in some of that into your soup. It's loaded with turkey flavor and thickener, so it will help. It's not going to make this like a chowder kind of soup, but it will help to give it a little something.
Save you on some seasoning. Right?
Well, and if the turkey's all gone, there's nothing else to use the gravy on. If the turkey's gone and the potatoes are gone and all of that, so may as well use it up. All right, so for me, that's about perfect ratio.
Oh, yeah.
But for you, make it however you want. If you want it to be super thick, you can add dairy to this. You make it however you want. And like I said, it's perfect with chicken or noodles, or it's the exact same process as when I make chicken noodle soup, really. So now, do you want to give it a try and see what you think?
Sure.
Okay.
This is my favorite part of Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving leftover meals. It's delicious. I love it. Every year, I have to have this.
Nice. So, that's how it turned out. Let us know your favorite kind of soup to make. We're thinking that we want to do some bean and ham soup. Well, I don't know about we're thinking. I've been thinking of that. That's one of my favorites. And I really like this tortellini soup that I make with just like cheddar tortellini frozen, and it's tomato, like the spicy rotel, and spinach, and I really enjoyed that one too. It is soup season. So let us know all of the kinds of soups that we should make down in the comments below. Would love to try something new as well. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel while you're here. Check out our other channels too, Love and Junk Games and Love and Junk. Now, if you love soup,
good soup,
or the winter, or turkey, or the holidays, or us,
or the video,
give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow when you do that. That's all we have for today.
That's it, guys.
See you next time.
Bye.